Hi everybody! Welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna put a story. So let's get to it.
Ow! Where is all that light coming from? I wondered. I screamed and immediately slammed the door. After living in an underground mansion for 15 years, I had come across a trap door that led me to a whole new world. My name is Karen, or Genevieve. I'm not sure which one to use anymore.
So it sounds like she's been underground for a long time and now she's just come out and seen the world for the first time. Sounds like it. A case of kidnapping. Weird.
About that, I'll dive in real soon. First, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Just trust me on this one. Just like any other day, I woke up and got started doing my favorite thing, painting. My friend Coco just watched. I was busy chatting away with her when I tripped over the edge of a rug and fell flat on my face. I groaned as I sat up. That's when I saw the rug had moved, and there was a trap door under it. The trap door led to a tunnel, which led to that door I'd just opened. Coco and I stared at each other in shock. It took me a while to open the door again. We both stepped out into this new world. What is this now? We were so fascinated that we just started wandering, staring around in wonder. I had no idea how far we'd gone. Soon, it started to get dark, and I felt scared. At the top of the slope, we saw a sea of glittering lights in the distance. Coco pointed towards it and said, "That's where we must go." After some time, the ground beneath our feet went from squishy and green.
That! LA! That's where we must go! The lights actually look like the lights of LA. Like, I remember there was a cliff there where people would walk and then you could see the whole landscape of LA. So it looks like she and Coco are in LA.
To hard and black. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a loud, speedy metal box with lights rushed up from behind me. It flashed by us with a loud honk. My heart was pounding. I had no idea what that was. I turned around to go back, but realized in horror that I had no idea where home was. We had to keep walking towards the lights. It was getting light again by the time we got there, and I couldn't stop staring at everything. Everywhere I looked, I could see creatures just like me, but they looked weird wearing these clothes. We were afraid, so Coco pulled my...
People look weird wearing these clothes? Oh, wow. It sounds like these kids haven't seen clothes in a long time. Like, I guess if you guess from, like, their garments, they're rather tattered.
My arm, and we ran into the nearest room and started walking around. I stared. There were shelves and shelves piled with stuff I had no clue about. But then I saw something familiar. Canned food. I quickly grabbed a few tins and we started running out when a man pointed at me and shouted,
"Stop that little thief!"
Someone grabbed me to make sure I couldn't escape, while another snatched the cans from me. I tried to explain, but they all just looked back at me with stupid expressions. And soon enough, we were getting our first car ride to the police station. When we got there, the police tried to investigate us, but they couldn't understand anything.
It just sounds like they have no idea what supermarkets are and how grocery shopping works and how credit cards and money work. It just sounds like they just popped out of the woods somewhere.
We spent that night in a jail cell, and honestly, I felt quite at home in a room with no windows. The next morning, they got us out and we were placed with a foster family. And that's where I was given the name Karen. Coco felt really scared and refused to go to dinner, so I had to go alone. The first night, they gave me my plate of food with a fork next to it. I thought it was odd, but I just started eating with my fingers. When I was about done, I looked up and saw everyone was staring at me. I noticed they were all eating with their forks. We had forks in the mansion, but I didn't know what they were for. I didn't really like being there.
So it sounds like they have never even used utensils before, never even used forks, and nobody's ever shown them how to use forks before. Must be a real shock to wake up to a world like this that you've never lived in before.
Her dad and brother were mean. The only person who was kind to me was my foster mom. She taught me to speak and read.
Look at the two demon faces, like the dad and the brother. Oh my gosh. And they were mean to her too? Holy.
Coco would go and hide whenever we had our lessons. I taught her everything I was learning when we were alone. One night, when I thought everyone was asleep, I was teaching Coco when my foster brother walked into the room. He said,
Who are you talking to, freak?
Oh,
I could
awful
tell that
brother.
wasn't a nice word. I stuttered, my friend. He let out a cackle of laughter.
Dad, would you come in here and listen to this? Karen has a friend!
My foster dad walked in, and when my brother told him what I'd said, they both roared with laughter.
There we go with the awful, evil eyes and fangs again. Oh my god! What a horrible brother.
Dad said.
I knew we got a really stupid one. Can we send her back, please?
They both left the room laughing, and left me feeling humiliated. I was just glad Coco had the chance to jump under the bed. And that night, I packed my few things, and we ran away. We ended up living on the streets for a while, which I liked in a way. I was free to do anything, and we didn't have to talk to anyone. We would dig through trash cans for food, and even found some new clothes. I woke up one day to find Coco gone. She had this habit of wandering on her own every now and then. Walking around the city, I noticed a few men off in the distance. They were all wearing black and were crouching down under a bridge. Suddenly, I started to see bright colors appearing all around them, like magic. Oh my god, it looked like paint! And out of cans, of all things. I wanted to be a part of it. I ran up to them, so excited, waving my hands wildly. But I guess I scared them because as soon as they saw me, they all ran away. I felt a little bummed, but I was happy they'd left the cans behind. I shook them and fidgeted with them for a while.
Yay! She got
Then
the cans!
I pushed the top down and sprayed myself in the face. My eyes! My eyes! I staggered around
Oh.
for a few minutes. As soon as my vision cleared, I picked up all the spray cans and hurried away. Coco found me soon after, and I was so excited to show her my new paint cans. After a little testing, I managed to figure out how they worked. And oh boy, there was no stopping me after that. I loved painting with the spray cans.
So it sounds she found some cans of paint to amuse her time. Being creative. I think that was something that she never thought that she could be. And so now she found a way to release all that tension and pent up energy.
The spray cans. It was so much better than painting with a toothbrush. Then, one day, as I was painting in a parking lot, a few guys came up to me.
She was
Looking at
painting
their
with a
black,
toothbrush.
paint-covered clothes, I realized they were the people I'd stolen the cans from. I was afraid they'd hurt me for taking their stuff. To my surprise, they spoke to me kindly and said their boss had been looking for me. Up close, I realized they weren't much older than me. Their black overalls looked old and torn. Just then, a woman walked up behind them. She was the most beautiful creature I'd ever seen. She smiled and spoke to me so warmly, I would have followed her anywhere. Her name, she told me, was Sharon. She said that she was a painter too, and my graffiti was some of the most beautiful art she had ever seen. She also told me I could come and live with her, and she would teach me more. As I was about to get into the car, Coco tugged at my hand. I don't have a good feeling about this, she whispered.
So the younger sister, I think it's a sister, has a bad feeling about this lady. I don't have a good feeling about this. And you know what? Sometimes your intuition is right. So, hey, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe this lady isn't as generous as she seems, you know? Not very giving. Not as giving as these two kids are led to believe.
No one had heard her. I shook her off and climbed into the car. She didn't budge. Fine. She could find me when she wanted to.
Ooh, so the bigger sister goes off on her own. I don't know. It seems a little dangerous to be getting into a stranger's car. I mean, they could be murderers and then, or kidnappers, and then that'll be the last time she sees her sister.
Large and beautiful, and I was so happy she'd found me. This new world was turning out to be a better place than I thought. But soon enough, I started to discover that things weren't quite right. We were put in a room with a supply of paints.
So first sign that something's not going right.
I wasn't allowed to leave the house. I soon realized the other artists lived here too,
Oh my gosh,
and no
she's
one
not
could
allowed to
leave
leave the
without
house.
Sharon's permission. I was happy to be painting,
And without
but
the
as
lady's
soon as I was
permission.
done, Sharon would carry away my art,
Red flag,
and I
red
never saw it
flag.
again. And she didn't give me enough to eat. If she was really pleased with my work, I'd get half a
Ooh.
chocolate chip cookie as an extra treat.
Oh, so many red flags. Like not getting enough to eat, having like a half a chocolate chip cookie if she's like good, and all her paintings get taken away. Like, where do they all go? Is the lady like using her for like slave labor, and then selling these paintings? Ooh, so many red flags. And then not being able to leave the house like without this lady's permission. Like, honestly, that sounds like slavery.
As time went by, she became more cruel. She kept pushing me harder, and I was getting so tired. I didn't really enjoy painting that much anymore. If I hadn't done all the work she wanted, she would shout at me. Coco was terrified of her
abuse.
and stayed hidden somewhere all the time. One night, I was really hungry, and I snuck into the kitchen in the dark. I had just taken a big, fat cookie from the jar. When Sharon walked in, she went totally
Ooh.
berserk and screamed at me.
Like,
She
she's just
threw my cookie
waiting
in the
there.
trash and locked me up for 2 days with only a few
Wow,
apples to eat.
holy shit, she
I
locked
was
her up
really
for 2
miserable
days.
there. But I had 2 silver linings in my life. David and Billy. David was the kindest man I'd ever met. He was Sharon's personal assistant, and he brought us our weekly painting supplies. I would be sure to have a lovely piece painted before he came, because he thought I was just brilliant. I just felt warm and fuzzy inside when he smiled at me. He was nothing
Sounds
like
like
my
she's a
horrible
crush.
foster dad. One time when he dropped by, Sharon had just half deafened me with her high-pitched screaming because I'd accidentally spilled a small can of paint.
She's like,
She had just stormed off
"Clean that
when
up,
David
clean that
came
up."
in. He said he would clean up and handed me a bag of cookies. He muttered, "Sharon's a horrible woman, and I hate working for her too. I'll get you out of here one day, Karen. You just keep up your painting till then. I'll find a way for us both real soon." I felt ecstatic.
Yeah, what a cliffhanger. Woo. So it seems like a lot has happened. She has 2 friends, 2 guy friends. And so they're nice to her. And one of the guys says, "Keep up your paintings. I'm going to get you out of here." And that Sharon's a horrible person. Yeah. And it seems like we have a part 2 coming up, which I'm going to do. Don't forget to catch that. So yeah, see you later. Subscribe.